Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, DXKO. 13 sa Zinday Utso sa dial sa inyong radyo. RPN DXKO, ang Radyo Ronda, dili sa Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Sibiyahan na may galaon sa katawhan, andang serbisyo sa tanan. Ang RPN DXKO Radyo Ronda, sakop sa KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Are you a Filipino living in Middle East, Europe, Asia and the Pacific, USA or Canada? You are our story. You are our Filipinos World. The Filipinos World Saturday every 4 to 5 p.m. only here on RPN DXKO 1368 Teleradio.
This program is brought to you by Love Module and Envirocool.
Happy New Year 2022. Isang maligayang bagong taon, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and to the Filipinos across the world. My name is Agnes, and you are watching live here in the Filipinos World. We are broadcasting live, powered by TV5 Cagayan de Oro City, Philippines, and live streaming via facebook.com/RPN Cagayan de Oro 1368. And together with me here live, the former Binibining Filipinos World 2003, the founder and CEO of MAFE Management Consultancy, and a certified authentic presence coach, Ms. Mafe Velasco. Happy New Year, Ms. Mafe.
Happy New Year, Miss Agnes, and also to the Filipinos World. I hope you all had a blessed one. And I know just now, as we started California, my family in California, Happy New Year! Isang maligayang manigong bagong taong. Pagbati mula dito sa Makati City, Philippines. Kasama ng aking pamilya. Of course, they're also tuned in. Hello everyone. And of course, mga kababayan, year 2021 has passed. The world was widely hit by the COVID-19 virus. So let's have a retrospection on how COVID-19 impacted the world and the Philippines.
A number of overseas Filipino workers have returned home and rejoined their families since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. As per the records of the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, a total of 809,374 OFWs were transported back to the country as of November 28 after undergoing quarantine protocols and provided assistance by the government. Those who have returned consisted mostly of the pandemic-affected workers and displaced OFWs due to lockdowns that crippled the world economies. Globally, the pandemic affected over 125 million workers unemployed. That's according to the International Labor Organization.
And on the other hand, the Philippines' gross domestic product, GDP, shrank by 4.2% in the first quarter of 2021, extending the recession to 5 straight quarters as the pandemic dragged on, making it the longest recession since the Marcos era. The Philippines pandemic lockdown, described as one of the longest, affected 75% of the economy. In 2020, full year GDP contracted 9.6%.
Pre-COVID-19, the Philippines is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, with real GDP growth average of 6.3% annually over the 10-year period up to 2019, with private consumption, investment, and services as major growth drivers. The Philippines would have been to become an upper middle income country in 2020, or 2 years ahead of target, but the pandemic.
And since the COVID-19 pandemic, the Philippines has revised development plans reflecting on the increasing risks from the impact of the pandemic and its aftermath on policy making as well as economic and fiscal outcome. The Philippines' general government debt to GDP ratio is expected to reach 52.7% and 54.5% in 2021 and 2022, much higher than the 34.1% in 2019, and will exceed the median increase for BBB rated peers.
No import and export restrictions were implemented during the pandemic period. On the other hand, the importation of health equipment and supplies deemed critical or needed to address the COVID-19 public health emergency were exempted from duties, taxes, and fees pursuant to Republic Act Number 11469, otherwise known as the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act.
According to Asian Development Bank, Philippines Country Director Kelly Bird, the Philippine economy has shown impressive resilience, growth momentum, as clearly picked up on the back of the government's vigorous drive to vaccine Filipinos against the COVID-19 virus. Public spending on infrastructure and continued vaccination of the population will help the country further accelerate its recovery in 2022. The inflation outlook for 2021 and 2022 is 4.4% and 3.7%, respectively, mainly due to rising fuel prices. These are up from ADB's September forecast of 4.1% in 2021 and 3.5% for 2022.
Moreover, the Asian Development Bank has been supporting the government's Build Infrastructure Development Program, which seeks to boost investments on roads, bridges, and railways to fuel faster growth, especially in areas outside the capital, Metro Manila.
ADB's current investments in the country's flagship projects include the Malolos Clark Railway Project, EDSA Greenways Project, and the Angat Water Transmission Improvement Project. The bank is preparing a 175 million loan to assist the government in building climate and disaster resilient bridges to improve road traffic flow in Metro Manila.
That's a look back 2021 on Philippines, mga ka-TFWs. Please stay tuned with us. When we come back, let us have no other than the Chairman and CEO of the Manila Times, Mr. Dante Ang II, and the OCTA Research Fellow and University of the Philippines Professor, Dr. Guido David, as they will discuss on the political and social condition of the country by 2022. We will be right back.
Modal manufactures a highly distinctive and exclusive range of interior solutions that combines functional excellence with design appeal. Solutions with integrated, innovative, ergonomic features to well-designed workplaces. Our company is based on the inherent values that shape the core of who we are. It is through our living values that we continue to fulfill the promise of our ideal and environmental design standards. Each and every groundbreaking product we've introduced over the years has been the result of our team's hard work and dedication to provide our absolute best to who we care most about, who is our customers. Whether the job is big or small, our team is used to solving complicated tasks and makes sure to get projects to successful completion. Whether it is local or global. This is why Labmodal is known as one of Europe's leading manufacturers of innovative system solutions for devices used in laboratory facilities, hospitals, and educational facilities. Solutions that can be easily adapted to the growing needs and workflows demands of the future. Labmodal, designing safe.
To all viewers of the Filipino World, a blessed Christmas and a COVID-free New Year. From Kanlungan Filipino Consortium in the UK. I am Eva Mayor, Chair of Kanlungan. Despite the pandemic and being far from home, let us find the strength in the bond and comfort of our Filipino community everywhere in the world. Muli, isang makabuluhang Pasko at makatatapos.
Hospital chemical storage, classroom interior design, school furniture storage units, fume covers for schools or hospital system cabinets, you may please get in touch with Love Modal via email at info@lovemodal.com or visit our website at www.lovemodal.com. Still a Happy New Year special episode of the Filipinos World. Miss Mafe.
Yes, the Filipinos World is still helping the typhoon victims in Sapalay City, Negros Occidental. So for those who are interested to donate, you can send via GCash at 0963-262-2089 or via GoFund. Urgent help for typhoon victims of Sapalay City. Urgently needed are drinking water, food packs, canned goods, clothes and blankets, power banks, portable solar lights, hygiene kits, face masks, rubbing alcohol, generator sets, construction materials, and medicine.
Year 2022, Year of the Water Tiger. Are we going to crouch? There are many levels of exasperating hopes to look forward in 2022, and one of which is the upcoming national elections. By 2022, 8,000 number of positions are up during election, from president to town councilor. 67.5 million expected number of registered voters, with new registrants at roughly 5.4 million and nearly a third aged 18 to 30. 26.5 billion pesos, equivalent to $524 million, is the Commission on Elections proposed budget for 2022. Join us here live in the Filipinos World to share his views on what 2022 will be on the political condition of the country, the one and only Chairman and CEO of the Manila Times, Mr. Dante Ang II. Sir, Happy New Year and welcome to the Filipinos World.
Manayong bagong taon sa inyo, Ms. Agnes and Ms. Maffei, and thank you for having me on your program.
Pleasure is ours.
So first of all, thank you for guesting here on our New Year's Live MTFW.
My pleasure.
Sir, and let's begin. There's so much to discuss, but first and foremost, Philippine politics has been dismissed by many as toxic, frustrating, even boring. But 2022 is a year to get political if you aren't already. Politics determines who governs, and governance affects every aspect of life, from how big your electricity bill is today, to the traffic jams that make you late for class, to who lives and dies in a COVID-19 hospital. It is undaunted with great conviction that the Filipino youth may be a deciding sector for the 2022 national elections. As of December 14, the total registered voters shot up to 67.5 million, with more than were aged to 18 to 30 years old, which is a big chunk of the voting population. So our question for you, sir, will the young Filipinos make a huge impact for the country? And are they expected to take the lead in voting and making change to happen for the country for the next 6 years?
Well, I think that view is substantiated by the voting profile that your program presented earlier. Certainly the issues to that demographic segment will be very important because, as you said, they make up a large number of voters in the upcoming elections, which will be very important. I think Ms. Agnes pointed out earlier that there have been many milestones that were postponed or missed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, Filipinos love their politics. Now, the good part there is that normally, I think in historical terms, there's usually an uptick in the economy whenever there is an election year. But I think this year, more than any other year, the elections are important because we are emerging from, we are expected to emerge from the pandemic. And of course, we are looking forward to pursuing or getting back on track on those development targets that were mentioned earlier, particularly pursuing to be an upper middle income country, among other things, including maybe the closing in the equity gap in the country and other things. So this will be an exciting year. I, for one, is very optimistic that things will turn out right.
Yes, and of course, President Rodrigo Duterte's 6-year term will soon to end. He withdrew from senatorial race and has not endorsed any presidential candidate for his replacement, except being vocal seeking support for his daughter's vice presidential post. The COMELEC still up to announce officially candidates by January 2022. Campaign will start by February of 2022. And presidential candidates are made up for the dictator's son, Bongbong Marcos, junior boxing champion turned Senator Manny Pacquiao, actor and Mania Mayor Isko Moreno, former police chief, and now Senator Panfilio Lacson, and Vice President Leni Robredo. Question is, sir, whoever may succeed Duterte, what do you think he or she may face in reviving the economy shaken by the pandemic?
Well, I think the next government will continue to be preoccupied with putting the country back on track. As mentioned earlier, the the blow from the pandemic is deep. Even the NEDA was saying that, it takes several years to recover because they said, we were put into something like a 40 trillion peso hole. So that will be I think a responsibility that will be carried over by the next government. On top of the other things that are on the economic development agenda, that were already in place during before the pandemic, from early 2019 and beforehand. So there's a lot on the next government's plate, but I think chief among them will be the economy.
Yes, and of course, according to a report, Philippines has lagged behind most of the Southeast Asian neighbors on ecolations, having faced logistical bottlenecks and vaccine oppositions. And Philippines has been named as the worst place to be during pandemic for 2 straight months from September, according to Bloomberg. So with this report, do you think there will be restrictions in conducting in-person campaign to likely weigh on election spending? And how will it affect the Philippines' economic growth?
Well, it's hard to say, given the recent surge of Omicron, and that suggests to us that variants can emerge unexpectedly, especially at a time when we were, I think, assuming that the worst is over. I don't think Omicron will be as bad as Delta. I think the preliminary news reports suggest that, but of course, our health experts are continuing to study COVID and this new variant. So we are still learning. Circumstances, the events are very fluid. I don't know what COMELEC will impose, but certainly I think there is a sentiment among the public that the campaign, especially among the aspirants, should be done in a responsible manner. Now, while I am confident that we can overcome COVID and the Omicron, I think it is incumbent upon us all to follow the health recommendations. First of all, to be vaccinated as early as possible and follow those simple guidelines. Just wear your mask properly. Not many people are seem to be doing that. People are probably tired. Avoid crowds, and again, that was probably difficult because of the holiday season. But now that we've passed January 1, perhaps we can get back to those reminders, and just follow regular hygiene. Wash your hands regularly. I think it's quite simple to avoid COVID. Of course, nothing is risk-free. But the recommendations seem to be practical. They're not overly burdensome. And I think if we just follow the rules, things would be much better.
I agree with you, sir. Thank you for that.
All right.
So, Ms. Agnes, yes?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Mafe. Sir Dante Ang, thank you so much for gracing here in the Filipinos World. I have a follow-up question, though, on this pertains to the country's fate, which was significantly be decided during the May 2022 elections. And whoever wins as president may have to revive the pandemic hit economy. The Philippines, as mentioned earlier, referred as the worst place to be in Asia during the pandemic. The winner, as predicted, may just take 25% of the total voting population, which is the total of which is 67.5 million. Given that winning percentage, which is considered to be a minority president, just like what Duterte had when he won the 2016 election. How do you think the next president will reward allies, penalize adversaries, and distribute power?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you, but I do hope that we are beyond petty politics, and that whoever is elected in Malacanang will concentrate on the national priorities rather than addressing the needs of their supporters. But there's certainly so much to be done by the national government and by every elected official, and that should be on top of everyone's political agenda, beginning with the president all the way down to barangay captain. I hope those priorities will prevail over any particular political or self-interest.
Thank you for that, sir. Just so to concretize or put a meat on how elections will bring forth to the Philippines or to the Filipinos, how do you think the new president will strategize to attract foreign investors, being confident on the country's recovery over pandemic and the recent, which was hit by the typhoon?
Well, the COVID management, I think, is an ongoing concern. You mentioned that there was a time when the perception was the Philippines was the worst country to be in, but until recently we were actually doing very well. I mean, there was a period when I think we had fewer cases than other countries like Australia. Yeah. So I mean, things are very fluid. I mean, we may have been the worst at one time, but we were actually better off, many countries in another period more recently. But of course, now we're seeing a resurgence of Omicron. So, the situation is very fluid. The way the government will manage the pandemic, I think, will be a major factor in attracting investments moving forward. Of course, right now, international travel is restricted. And so even if people are willing to go abroad or come here from abroad, there are others who are probably going to put that off because they're afraid of contracting COVID. So the way this pandemic will be managed locally, I think, will be a big factor in any economic program moving forward.
All right, thank you. With the remaining months, which President Duterte is still in the administration, do you still have the confidence that we are able to restore in order or I would say a systematic COVID-free Philippines by 2022?
Well, I think the health experts are better suited to predict whether we will be COVID-free in 2022 or not. Our position in the Manila Times is that economic planning should look beyond COVID. I think we should accept that COVID will be around for many years to come. We don't know to what degree. It could be like the pox, where we have to be inoculated for it, every few years. But regardless of the situation, I think the government and the private sector will just have to learn how to live with COVID-19. It's unlikely to disappear anytime soon, as we see now with the resurgence of COVID, and yet we cannot postpone progress or economic development. We just have to find a way to live with it.
All right. Your last parting words for the viewers of the Filipinos World, Mr. Dante Ang.
Well, I want to wish everyone and your viewers a Happy New Year. I know that there are some concerns now with the Omicron resurging, but as I said earlier, I think we have to look at ourselves really to do our part to help in the collective effort against COVID-19. Of course, government is doing what it can, but on our part, in the private sector's part, let's get vaccinated as quickly as possible. Get your booster shot as quickly as you are eligible. And again, wear your face mask regularly, properly, avoid crowds whenever practical, and wash your hands regularly. And then if we do this, I think we can be confident that the recovery projections will come to fruition in 2022.
Thank you so much. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Chairman and CEO of the Manila Times, Mr. Dante Ang II. Maraming salamat po, sir, at mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you.
Mga ka-TFWs, dyan lamang po kayo. And when we come back, let us have the view on the Philippine social condition in respect to COVID-19 pandemic with the OCTA Research Fellow and University of the Philippines Professor, Dr. Guido David. We will be right back. Welcome back, and you are still watching with us live here in the Filipinos World. For your cooling services, you may please get in touch or visit the website envirocool.ph. For your seafoods requirements, please visit and order from ichibunseafoods.com. And for your gorgeous and fashionable dresses, you may visit online magsonline.ph. And for your beauty makeover, please visit Revival Spa in front of Barangay Hall, Kamamanan, Cagayan de Oro City.
Vaccination has allowed the economy to slowly reopen, boosting consumer and business confidence. In addition to the government purchases of COVID-19 vaccines, the World Health Organization supported COVID-19 Vaccines Global Access, COVAX. Facility also donated supply for the country's nationwide vaccination program.
The Asian Development Bank, or ADB, has been assisting the government in procuring COVID-19 vaccines. It already provided $425 million in total financing through the health system enhancement to address and limit COVID-19 under the Asia Pacific Vaccine Access Facility, or HEAL, and HEAL-2 programs. These loans helped fund nearly half of the country's vaccine supply purchases for 2021. On 13 December 2021, ADB, or Asian Development Bank, approved $250 million in additional financing under HEAL-2 to help the government procure more COVID-19 vaccines for minors and booster shots for adults.
Let's hear an update from our OCTA's Research Fellow and University of the Philippines professor, Dr. Guido David, the current situation of COVID-19 virus. Dr. David, Happy New Year and welcome to the Filipinos World.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Happy New Year, Mafe and Agnes, and also to Sir Dante, just before me.
Happy New Year, Dr. Guido, and thank you so much for being here in the Filipinos World again, live. All right. As announced by the Malacanang yesterday, so I was just able to browse through with the current update. It has been declared that Philippines, or the National Capital Region, is now into alert level 3. It was obviously alert level 2 in the past year, 2021, which has to start from January 3 until January 15. The stay in the country's alert level 3 status comes despite the recent uptick of COVID-19 cases, especially in the capital region of Metro Manila. Question here is, can you share what are the restrictions for alert level 3, if you have any idea?
Well, actually, the alert level system is it's something that's defined by the interagency task force. What we do know is that there will be some businesses that will have lower capacity compared to, alert level 2. So there will definitely be more restrictions and possibly more restrictions on, minors and people who are unvaccinated.
All right, thank you so much. So, but in addition to that, I have read or browsed through that around 30 to 50% would have been is the regulation when going to the restaurants or among other places where it used to have like an easing of restrictions. All right, Dr. David, yourself in OCTA expressed that Metro Manila is now at moderate risk for COVID-19 transmission, even when the region's reproduction number and key coronavirus figures increased in recent weeks. What's your conclusive judgment to declare that Metro Manila is at moderate risk despite the increase?
Yeah, well, it is increasing. Indicators are increasing, but we take a weighted average of all the indicators, the most important indicators. So the reproduction number is very high right now, but we also take into consideration the daily attack rate, the testing positivity rate, and the healthcare utilization rate. And there will be a difference in the way we calibrate these compared to previous surges. Um, we are primarily interested in the healthcare utilization rate because that will determine if hospitals will be overwhelmed. And in the past, because of low vaccination, our hospitals were really threatened, and we are aware of that. I mean, it happened in March, and it happened again in August of this year, or last year rather. But this time, we're hoping that the vaccinations will do their work, will do the part, and this is what we have based on preliminary evidence and studies based in South Africa and other countries show that vaccinated people will have a lower rate of severity. That means more mild cases. And if that's the case, we will be able to cope with the surge in cases. Well, even as the surge comes, the hospital utilization will not be high. Hospitals will not be overwhelmed, and this is what we call, living with the virus. So we have this would be a way for us to continue with our, businesses, with our economic programs, without compromising them because of the surge in cases.
All right. Thanks so much, Dr. Guido. Did you have any updated statistics on the vaccinated Filipinos as per your data in OCTA?
Yeah, well, we're seeing that about 50 million Filipinos are already fully vaccinated. And that's a significant number because, as you mentioned a while ago, the voting population is about 67 million. So, I mean, if we compare that to the voting population, that means most adults and probably some children are already fully vaccinated. That being said, the vaccine status is not even throughout the whole country. Some have a higher level of vaccinations, and some will have a lower rate of vaccinations. I don't have the distribution right now, but I do know that, of course, NCR has a high level of or a high vaccine coverage already.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Guido. My colleague, Ms. Mafi, may also have some questions for you.
Yes, hi, Doctor. In one of your interviews, you mentioned that the daily positivity rate in the National Capital Region, NCR, has increased over 5% as of Monday last week. You also mentioned that this was the first time the positivity rate in Metro Manila has risen above 5% since October 24. And the 7-day positivity rate in NCR was now at 2.4%. So my question is, can you please explain what were the factors that arose from such increase?
Well, the rapid increase in the positivity rate mirrors what we actually observe in countries like South Africa, where we're in the wherein the number of cases surged very quickly, very rapidly, and the rate of increase right now that we're seeing, as I mentioned, is similar to what we saw in South Africa. So we have, in a way, circumstantial evidence that this is really driven by Omicron. In fact, kanina Sir Dante already mentioned that it's an Omicron driven pandemic, and of course we're waiting for the surveillance results from the Philippine Genome Center and RITM and others that will give us confirmation on local transmission of the Omicron virus. But again, with the high reproduction number of about 3 and high positivity rate, but so far low hospital utilization rate, it's only at 20% right now, and that's way below 70%. So that gives us optimism too. I mean, in a way, there's like a bad news, but there's also a good news, because the bad news is that we're having an Omicron surge, but the good news is that the fact that it is an Omicron driven surge could mean that lower hospitalizations, as we mentioned a while ago. This would allow us to essentially, live with the virus, so to speak.
And of course, as per Department of Health, more than 57 million Filipinos, or nearly 65% of the target vaccination, has received at least one COVID-19 vaccine dose as of December 28, 2021. And more than 48 million completed the dose, and more than 1 million for booster dose. So how confident is the Philippines to open the borders, especially for foreigners? your probability and guesses on this? Maybe potential scenarios.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a fair point. If, I mean, before Omicron, I mean, in fact, last November, we were already in discussions with Go Negosyo and the Philippine Airlines about really opening up, reducing quarantine time. So this would help bring in passengers um, because of the logistics involved with air travel. If we have to test every one of them and have to check, and they have to undergo quarantine, that adds a lot to the logistic challenges. And again, without the threat of Omicron last year, or around November last year, I think we were ready to open the borders. We were just doing it in stages. The problem is, of course, with Omicron, we have to somehow let it pass through. We have to, sort of, let the wave, be over, because it would be a challenge to get the borders completely open at this time. Obviously, it will affect the pandemic situation in the country. But there's optimism that, like I mentioned, if we are able to follow the trajectory that was observed in South Africa, they had a surge, but it lasted only 1 month, and it was actually faster than the previous surges. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen in the Philippines, because we have a different vaccine portfolio, different coverage, different demographic, different ethnicity. But at the same time, it gives us some level of hope that the surge, which is happening right now, will be quick, but it will be over quickly. I mean, hopefully, by the end of January, maybe it's already on a downward trend. We just have to, sort of live with it at this time.
Thank you for that, Dr. Guido. Of course, as an expert, I hope everybody in the Filipinos world is listening or even sharing this live stream and also episode, because we have to have hope and faith that the experts are doing everything they can possibly do to make sure that we are educated enough to know how to be safe. And also, like what Mr. Dante mentioned earlier, just following protocols. It's great reminders for us, and it's simple reminders so that we can be connected. Of course, we talked about having our family or even us traveling. We look forward for those moments, right? So thank you again, Dr. Guido. I know Miss Agnes may have some follow-up questions for
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much, Miss Mafe. Dr. Guido, do we know how many Omicron cases we have here in the Philippines at the moment?
Well, the latest genome sequencing results, I think, showed 10 new Omicron cases. So if I'm not mistaken, that would bring a total to 14. But again, genome sequencing is done through sampling, and most of these cases were already at least 2 weeks old. So it doesn't give us a real-time picture of what's happening. We can only guess what's the current sampling distribution right now.
Well, wondering though, because as of today's report in the news in Europe, there are around 1 million cases already rising up due to these Omicron cases. So I'm wondering what's the mechanism that Philippines is doing so just to protect or safeguard us from having spread with this Omicron variant.
Well, of course, the Omicron cases are mostly imported right now. Of course, we might be having local transmission. International border controls is very important. And that's why implementation there is important, not to let cases with the Omicron virus come in and spread. Now, locally, I think Sir Dante already mentioned the things that we really need to do, which would be, really protect ourselves when we go out. I mean, wearing face masks is still very, very effective in preventing transmissions. And we can follow the 3 Cs, the apat dapat. There are several, guidelines given. But basically, I think Filipinos, for the most part, have learned to cope with the pandemic during the previous surges. Of course, complacency went up a little bit last December, because at the same time they were aware or what they knew was that the cases were really low at that time, and it's just that unfortunate that the surge happened so quickly that it caught many people off guard. So really, it's just again following minimum public health standards, getting ourselves vaccinated if we're not yet vaccinated, getting the booster shots if we're eligible, and if for those people who are having symptoms of colds or something similar, maybe they could already try to self-isolate. And let's protect the unvaccinated, the children, by decreasing their mobility, by safeguarding them basically.
Mm-hmm. Your office, the OCTA Research, has been doing like extensive research, gathering data all over the country. How far would this go with regards to monitoring country level and also down to the barangay level?
Well, we have been monitoring this. We have been working with Go Negosyo to monitor the risk levels for provinces. We do that also for cities. For barangays, well, I mean, that's a bit extensive, but we do that sometimes as well for certain LGUs. Right now, the risk, the search is really happening in NCR and Cavite, Rizal, Laguna, and Bulacan, because that's where we're seeing the increase in cases. So it's not yet happening outside these regions. In other areas, the risk level is still very low, for example, in Cebu and in Davao del Sur.
All right, thank you. A little bit of a political question down to integrate with your field, though. As you all know, by February 22 will be the start of the national campaign. How will these upcoming national elections affect the condition of the country, like restrictions, regulations on the COVID-19 protocols? What's your personal take on this?
Well, that's a good question. And obviously, the campaigns will be affected right now because of the Omicron surge, especially in these areas around NCR. Probably in areas like Davao del Sur or in Visayas, Cebu, where there is no evidence yet of Omicron, then it's probably not going to be as affected at this time. But it may seem like there's a high possibility that if we have the Omicron here in NCR, it will somehow find its way in other parts of the country, and it will definitely affect that. And because of this unevenness, meaning that the surge is happening now here in NCR, but not in other parts of the country, but that it may leak to other parts of the country, then it will create an unevenness, meaning that, for example, if we have the scenario that by the end of January, the surge will be on a downward trend in Metro Manila, it may still be possibly rising in other areas, in other parts of the country. And it may take a longer time in parts of the country where vaccination coverage is much lower than here. So that creates a really tricky situation because obviously, it would be difficult to embark on a campaign if there's a significant risk threat due to the Omicron virus. We know that most cases will be mild, but at the same time, we still have to take that into account. I mean, the risk of getting the virus, especially as we mentioned, in areas with low vaccine coverage. So again, there's a lot of factors involved here, and it's going to be tricky. We hope that we can manage this very quickly because this surge, because again, that will affect how the election campaign will roll out within the next months.
All right. Thank you so much. Siguro, one of the we have already mentioned, Mr. Dante Ang mentioned this, so forth with Ms. Mafe and yourself too. Kailangan talaga maging disiplinado ang mga Filipinos at mag-ingat sa mga anumang, like kung lalabas ng bahay and so forth. Dr. Guido, your last parting words or your parting words for the Filipinos world, a New Year's message and so on.
Yeah, well, we went through so much over the past 2 years. This is possibly our fourth wave that we're experiencing. I think, in a way, many Filipinos have learned to live with the virus, and we have to just face it right now by doing best practices, so we can essentially dance around the virus. Wearing face masks, social distancing, avoiding crowded areas, 3Cs, etc., getting ourselves vaccinated. We really can help each other, and it's really a time. I mean, it's always been a time for us to be unified, to be united, to work towards a common goal, and we can do this by helping each other. Not following rules basically, and in that way, that will also help our kababayans if we follow the rules, because we will be indirectly protecting them. And again, getting ourselves vaccinated if we're not yet vaccinated, and getting the booster shots, that will significantly decrease the impact of the virus if it ever comes into a certain area.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. The OCTA Research Fellow at the University of the Philippines Professor, Dr. Guido David. Mabuhay po kayo at marami pong salamat. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Mga TFWs, dyan lamang po kayo at huwag bibitiw. We will be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay na kami.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome back, and you're still watching with us live here in the Filipinos World. I'd like to say hi to my sister Arlene and to my nieces, Andy and Duday. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year to all our sponsors, Love Module AS, Envirocool, Ichibun Seafoods, Revival Spa, and Mags Online. Miss Mafe. Oh, I think your audio.
Oh, here you go. Okay, so last December 30, 2021, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte signed the Department of Migrant Workers Act and the General Appropriations Act, GAA, of 2022 in a ceremony at the Rizal Hall in Malacanang. The 2022 GA, amounting to 5.024 trillion, is significantly higher by 11.5% than this year's national budget. Expenditures related to the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, pandemic response and recovery operations after the onslaught of Typhoon Odette in several provinces are expected to be included in the 2022 GA.
Likewise, the Chief Executive signs the Department of Migrant Workers Act. Kaya sa lahat ng mga OF or migrant workers, mabuhay po kayo and congratulations. According to Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo, the creation and establishment of the proposed department is one of the priorities of President Rodrigo Duterte, even certifying it as an urgent bill in March. This is expected to benefit an estimated total of 2.2 million Filipinos abroad based on the 2019 survey on overseas Filipinos released in 2020 by the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA.
Yes, congratulations to the migrant workers all over the world. This makes it to you made it happen, and we are so honored and I'm proud of you all. Of course, the Filipinos World would like to thank all donors for the Typhoon Odette victims in Sipalay City as follows: Johnston family in New Zealand, Paul Suzanne of Briley Care UK, London, United Kingdom. Paul Markvicius, London, United Kingdom. June Aguilar, Quezon City, Philippines. Dr. Carlo Romero, Cagayan de Oro City. And Ruby Apao, Ozamis City. You can still donate for the typhoon victims via GCash at 0963-262-2089.
The Filipinos World would like to thank our executive producer, Mr. Paul Markovicius, who is having his vacation in Lithuania at the moment, and our technical team, Engineer Johnson Deegan, Engineer Ernie Birdson, the station manager, Miss Jean Seruhijas, our social media team, kaagapay ako ng OFW based in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ako Bakwit Incorporated by their Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Naz Mariwa Berganyo. And of course, to all the supporters and viewers of the Filipinos World.
Yes, for this we say, we bring Filipinos closer to the world, we bring the world closer to the Filipinos, and Filipinos closer to each other.
This has been your TFW Agnes, together with
Mafe Yunam Velasco.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Mafi, for having us here in the Filipinos World Live. I hope you had a wonderful New Year, though.
I did. Thanks to my amazing husband, Nick Velasco. Hello, tuned in.
Hi to
and
Nick.
my children.
Yeah.
So my family in California and Sydney. Hello, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. It's so wonderful to have you on board always.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching here in the Filipinos World. Stay safe. God bless you. Have a blessed New Year to all of you. Thanks so